Father Benedict Rochelle. Everybody remember him? He says, congratulations, Terry. I said, what? You got booted out of the Religious Ed Congress, didn't you? I said, oh, yes, a couple times. He says, well, I just got my letter. I'm booted out too. I said, well, for what, Father? Well, there was a priest who was preaching that Jesus Christ didn't physically resurrect from the dead. So in my talk, I pointed out the error in that and said, don't listen to him. And that's why they kicked me out.
Love God, save souls, slay error, go stronger.
You know, several years after Vatican II, on April 12, 1970, Sister Lucia warned of a diabolical disorientation invading the world and misleading souls. That's the best description I can give for what I would call is the false prophetic teachers, by and large, at the Los Angeles Religious Education Congress, where unorthodoxy reigns, and it's reigned since Cardinal Mahoney started it. And I can tell you, Jesus Christ warned us about teachers like this in Matthew 7:15. He called them false prophets. Yep, beware of false prophets. By and large, that's what you're going to get at the Los Angeles Religious Education Congress, which is approaching once again. They boast an attendance of nearly 40,000 people. It's the largest religious gathering of Catholics in the country, maybe even the world. And throughout the years, it's been as infamous as it is well attended. And they consistently bring together speakers who openly reject church teachings on issues such as ecumenism. They promote false ecumenism. They promote transgenderism, homosexuality, women's ordination, and liberation theology. And this year's conference promises to be more of the same. We thought the problem was over when the dissenting progressive modernist nun, Sister Edith, I think her last name is Pendergrass.
It is. I know her well.
Yeah, and when she retired, we said, okay, we've got a new day here in Los Angeles. Somebody's going to come in and step in and repair the damage that's been done by her and Cardinal Mahoney for decades. Well, don't hold your breath, because now the Religious Education Congress is under a new modernist. She's the LA Diocese new senior director of religious education, Sister Rosalia Mesa, a zealous promoter of leftist causes, of leftist schooling. And so with Sister Mesa at the helm of the religious education in the LA Diocese, faithful Catholics, don't hold your breath. Don't think you're going to see a lineup of good speakers. You're going to get more of the same. Terry?
Jesse, I want to give a little bit more of a background back before Mahoney even. In the 1960s, this conference used to be held by the LA airport, and then it went to the Anaheim Convention Center in 1969. And I want to just back up, because I've been going since 1972, when I was a teenager, and it was bad then. As a matter of fact, to give you a little background, Father Raymond Brown, one of the modernist biblical scholars, in 1969, January 4th to be exact, he was invited to St. John's Seminary to give talks to our seminarians and priests. And there he told the seminarians and the priests that this idea of St. Paul saying that, we could celebrate the Eucharist without the ordained priesthood. He also had some crazy ideas about divorce, saying that it's okay to have divorce and remarriage and still receive Holy Communion. Now, this is 50-some years ago, okay? So this has been going on even before Cardinal Mahoney. And then Father Raymond Brown starts getting invited in 1970 to the Religious Ed Congress and spitting out all this error for years. He died, years later. But every year, everybody was, Father Raymond Brown. Then all these other modernists started coming in. And I want to share this because in 1986, I had tried to get into that Congress when I was promoting a radio called St. Joseph Radio that I started back in 85. And I printed 10,000 bags because they would never let me at St. Joseph Communications to have a vendor booth. So what did I do? I printed 10,000 bags and I went to all the vendors and said, yeah, you need some bags? They all said, yeah, for free. Yeah, why not? So we're promoting St. Joe Radio at that conference, and I get a letter from Sister Edith telling me that, how dare you do that, and it was wrong of you. And so anyhow, I said, why don't you just let me in? No, they won't let me in. Now, move it up 4 more years. 1990, Dr. Scott Hahn, I just recorded his conversion story. They still won't let me in. My good friend, Father Fessio at Ignatius Press says, Terry, come on in on my booth. So I'm promoting Scott Hahn and having a great time. And the officials with Sister Edith, they come to me and they say, get out! And they start screaming at me and hollering at me. And it's just, of course, I'm an umpire. I could care less. I'm calming down and calling him by name and asking questions. And all the security people come and they're going, what is going on? Well, there's a charismatic priest from Fresno, California. He sees this woman out of control screaming at me, and he starts praying deliverance prayers over her. Yeah, he says, everybody get down on your knees. So I just picture this. He's praying over this lady. And I'm like, okay, I'll get down on my knees. So I prayed. And then finally, the security guys go, hey, lady, let's step aside. Let's talk. What's going on? I said, I think she's having a bad day or maybe. I don't know. But I'm just having a good time, and God bless you. So nothing ever happens to me except a letter from the diocese saying you can't do that. So they're getting all upset. I can go on, but here's the point. They've even arrested me at this Congress. Back in 1991 or 2 with Leonard Guzzi, my World War II friend, and they said, no, Sister Edith has to wait and you have to talk to her because you can't be handing out these books and literature, which I could. And the bottom line is I've had nothing but trouble there, right? So why? Because I want people to know the truth about the gospel, and many of these teachers are in error, as Jesse just said. We can go through so many more. And last story, Jesse, Father Benedict Rochelle. Everybody remember him? Yeah. Well, he goes to the conference, and they always would bring 1 or 2 Orthodox speakers to come in just to placate to us. But Father Benedict calls me up and says, Terry Barber, how are you? I said, good. I knew him. He says, congratulations, Terry. I said, what? You got booted out of the Religious Ed Congress, didn't you? I said, oh, yes, a couple times. He says, well, I just got my letter. I'm booted out too. I said, well, for what, Father? Well, there was a priest who was preaching that Jesus Christ didn't physically resurrect from the dead. So in my talk, I pointed out the error in that and said, don't listen to him. And that's why they kicked me out. So what am I saying, Jesse? This whole Congress is a scandal. And you wonder why only 20% of the people are going to church today. And I want to call on my leadership. I'm going long here, but let me just finish with this quote. If I'm a dad and I let my kids play with the Ouija board, guess what? They're going to be lost to the Catholic faith. Well, I believe that our bishops need, especially my Archbishop, I'm humbly asking him to say, knock it off, get rid of this Congress, bring in Orthodox speakers because souls are at risk. No other reason, not because I don't like it or Jesse Romero. Who cares about Jesse Romero or Terry Barber? I care about the truth, and the truth is what sets us free. And what's going on there is a scandal, and it's undermining the Catholic faith. I'm done, Jess.
Trust the perennial teachings of the church. Don't trust theologians necessarily, especially the ones at the LA Religious Education Congress.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, if you want me to describe them to you, they're dissenters.
Oh, it's a list.
That's the term, okay?
Yep.
A dissenter is somebody who completely opposes the church's teaching.
You got it.
And we have and you have a lot of dissenting theologians. I'm going to give you their names and some of their dissenting.
There's
some of
tons
the
of
dissent from. But there's in Latin there's a phrase that's called odium theologicum, which means theological hatred. A lot of these theologians there at the Congress, they have theological hatred about the teachings of the Catholic Church. So ask Archbishop Gomez to keep the Los Angeles Religious Education Congress Catholic. So the event is titled this year, Live Mercy, Be Holy. It's going to be held February 20th to the 23rd at the Anaheim Convention Center. A careful observer will note that in addition to the many dissident speakers, the Congress is going to host a number of events and performers who endanger the Catholic faith in a symbolic way. This could be more damaging, what you're going to see, than subtle heterodox teachings inaccessible to many participants. For example, liturgical dancers may not say anything against Catholic teaching, but their actions in all the liturgies are undeniably sending a message to catechists that this is something that they should take back to their parish, that this is something they should take back to their diocese. It sends a message that sensuous and ridiculous movements are compatible with the sacredness of the sacred liturgy of Christ's passion. That's what you're going to see present at the Congress at multiple holy masses. And the fact is that liturgical dancers have been a hallmark of the Los Angeles Religious Education Congress for years. And such can be expected again this year at the LA Rec. There's going to be 4 workshops on liturgical dancing.
Unbelievable.
Though it's a liturgical violation clearly outlined by John Paul II and the Second Vatican Council. But one of the workshops is going to be led by Betsy Beckman, who helped create and develop the Abbey of the Arts, described as a global online monastery fostering contemplative and creative expression. And the members of this online monastery are collectively and disrespectfully named the Holy Disorder of Dancing Monks.
Unbelievable.
The Holy Disorder. By the way, that's a term used by exorcists when they talk about a possessed person, an energumen. They'll say his intellect and his will are disordered. And when somebody is free from the diabolical, they'll say his intellect and his will are ordered. So it's what a coincidence that these nuns will call their group the Holy Disorder of Dancing Monks. An exorcist would look at that title and say that's a reference to possession.
Jesse, you said it well, and I know that this list is so thick. I got a piece of paper. Usually I have a couple pages for an article.